Yep. First of all, before I start, certainly thoughts and prayers with everyone affected by the hurricane. I know we obviously the story of the night is football, but there's a reason this game got moved to Thursday, and those people in Florida and Georgia and South Carolina and everyone certainly in our prayers as well. We've got players on our team from Florida and those areas and along the coast of Georgia as well. So keeping them in our prayers. Want to thank everyone that allowed this game to be moved. The football part of it is easy, the playing and the coaching. There's a lot that goes into moving a college football game 2 days. So appreciate Coach Tanner and our administration and everyone here in the city of Columbia and state and SEC and South Carolina State and Coach Pugh for allowing this to happen as well. Before I get started, I want to congratulate Coach Tanner was just telling me out in the hallway, our equestrian team upset Baylor today, I hear, and our women's soccer team upset Florida tonight here as well. So congrats to both those two teams. Thursday nights are good around here. I talked about it earlier in the week at the press conference about some of the Thursday night games we had here when I was an assistant coach, whether it be NC State and Russell Wilson or Kentucky when they came in here top 10 in the country, or Ole Miss when they came in here top 5 in the country. So Thursday nights are special. And then want to thank our fans as well. I know the cockpit was excited that President Emeritus called off class tomorrow, so they showed up down there in the end zone. Appreciate them packing it, and then everyone out there as well. Didn't know what to expect, but should have known that we would have a great turnout tonight, knowing how awesome our fans are, and appreciate them coming out and the ones that stayed to the end as well. A lot to correct. Proud of the win. Proud of our team, the way they handled this short week. Finding out on Tuesday morning they're in a team meeting, getting ready to go out and have a Tuesday full pad practice, and then they find out that we're playing in a little over 48 hours, and they really handled it well. Told them last week after we beat Charlotte that we find out a lot about the maturity of our team this upcoming week going into South Carolina State, and then we found out even more. Obviously, with the game time, with the day being changed, thought they handled it well. A lot to clean up. Obviously, the story of the first half were turnovers on offense and penalties on defense. Way too many pass interference calls. But in the first half, I thought we did a lot of really, really good things. But the penalties that allowed South Carolina State to sustain drives, and then the turnovers that we had on offense, just can't have. That's not playing smart football, and got to be better there without a doubt. But like the way that our guys responded, thought we finished the half well, got a great stop defensively at the end of the first half. Our offense had a 95-yard drive in the first half, and then right after the defense got a stop there before the half, offense took a 2-minute drill and went right down the field as well and got points. Also didn't start the third quarter great, giving up a drive to them, but then our offense responded. So really proud of the way that our offense responded tonight to some adverse situations, never blinked and just kept coming back out there. And then the turnovers that we were able to create, we told them at halftime that we needed to get better as a football team in the second half and feel like we did. It was great to see, Marcellus Dial get an interception, Sherrod Green get an interception. Bam Scott made up for the ball that went through his hands, and then on the very next play, the block punt hit his helmet. He made up for it the next drive by getting an interception as well. So proud of those guys, and it was good to get some young guys in there as well. So a lot to correct, a lot of work to do for sure, but proud of the team. Great win. We'll enjoy this one, and excited to have I know our players are excited to have a free weekend here. So with that, any questions you guys have?
Shane, second straight week with 3 interceptions on defense. Obviously that's a lifting thing for the rest of the team, but you've always said turnovers come in bunches. Just how do you keep that going, or do you even not talk about it?
No, we talk about it. We just gave out 3 game balls in the locker room to the 3 guys that got turnovers, so we certainly want to celebrate it. I think we told them when we weren't getting them early in the season, we didn't make a big deal about it. We just talked about continue to be in the right place and continue to play really, really hard and be around the football. And when you fly to the football and you play hard, those turnovers tend to come, and we're certainly going to need them going forward as well. Would love to get a lot more in the first half going forward than the second half. That would be nice. But no, we emphasize it every day and in practice with drills that we do, offense versus defense and things like that. So we need to keep it coming. And there's a reason we led the SEC in takeaways last year defensively. We work at it and we emphasize it. And we got to get back to that. We put ourselves in a little bit of a hole to begin the season. We got to claw out so we can get back ahead in that stat. And we got to quit, turning the ball over ourselves.
You said after the Georgia game that your team wasn't playing good football and took ownership of that. Do you feel like you're playing good football now, or do you have to wait until you get back into SEC play to be able to figure that out?
No, I think we're playing good football. I know winning's hard, and I realize that people said, okay, coming off that Georgia game, they got 2 non-conference games, they're going to win no matter what, and all that, and that's not the truth. You've got to work hard. These are good football teams that we play that got good players. That number 1 is going to play in the NFL for South Carolina State, and they've got some really talented guys on defense. So I feel like we're playing better. Are we playing our best football? No. There's a lot to clean up, but I saw a lot of signs of us getting better as a football team over the last couple weeks. And people think I'm crazy. I saw signs of that at Arkansas. I saw positive things that, believe it or not, that I saw in the Georgia game. And we just continue to get better. We're a work in progress. We're 5 games in, and I think we're a better football team than we were 2 or 3 weeks ago, whenever it was that I sat in here after the Georgia game. And we've got to get a lot better, though. There's no question about it as we go into all SEC play and then Clemson at the end of the season.
Yeah, Coach. Christian Bill Smith had another touchdown this week, had a couple last week. Just, I don't know, his, increased productivity, just what are you seeing from him in practice, and then what's it like seeing him or seeing it play out, in real time in the game?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for CBS is just, one, getting healthy. That's why you maybe didn't see as much at the beginning of the season. He wasn't 100% healthy, and he's healthier now, so you see that. And I like what he's doing. He's running the ball with physicality. That was a physical run he had over there on their sideline, and I think it was in the first half. And he sought the guy out and tried to run over him. That's the physicality and mentality that he brings. And we didn't have a ton of plays offensively tonight. I think the Arkansas game we had 90 and we had 61. It looks like tonight, so there wasn't a ton of plays as well. Marshawn 11 carries and CBS 6, but they made them count. And I think those guys are getting more and more confident and comfortable back there carrying the ball.
Coach, before the game, there was that announcement about Coach Adkins. Just, is there any more you can share about kind of what the timetable is, if there is any answer on that, and just what's going on with him?
Yeah, did we put the release out? No, he's fine. It's just a minor medical issue. He's fine. I talked to him yesterday. He was in great spirits. Nate, his son, is who's on our team, is doing well. So not much more to share. Just medical condition that he's taken care of. That I don't think, Heath, it's going to be long term. When I talked to him yesterday afternoon, he told me that he felt like he'd be back really, really soon.
Shane, the turnovers and penalties in the first half, how much of that is the result of the short practice time?
Probably not much. I wish I could tell you that it was, but I think that would be making an excuse. Our guys, the turnovers, if I'm going to make an excuse, I would blame it on the wind in the first quarter as well. The one ball kind of got hung up there a little bit, and then the other ball to Leggett was, whatever, miscommunication or whatnot. But it's no excuse to turn the penalties on defense. We've got really talented defensive backs. We have NFL corners, and they don't need to be out there grabbing and holding people. Got us in trouble last week against Charlotte, and I've seen them make way too many plays, and we got practice time this week, so no, I don't think that had anything to do with it. I think we just got to play with better technique in the secondary, and we've got to throw and catch the ball better and hold on to it better on offense.
Hey, Coach.
Hey.
2 quick things for you. First, can you take us through that play call for Tonka on the 2-point conversion? Because I know we all enjoyed that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, kind of the same thing. One of you guys asked me in the press conference, I think, just about the stuff that we can do, and we've just got a library of muddle huddle type things that we can do. And like last week, there's options, off that play, and it was one of those there's got to be a certain look, and if there's a look, we're gonna, Tonka's a good athlete, and we're gonna snap the ball to Tonka and let him run it. And he was fired up. Something we worked on it quite a bit in the preseason and hadn't had it in the game plan the first few games, but felt like it would be something that could work, this night as well. So it was one of those. I was going to call it no matter what. I mean, I wanted to see him run the ball and excited for him as well. So yeah, it was just something that one of the things that we work on each week on an extra point, and we got the look that we wanted. She had another one. Come on, Fink. Are you good? Oh, I thought you had two. I'm sorry. We'll make a next. We'll make Colin. You got yours. What you got? Okay, go ahead, Colin.
How's Boogie doing?
Boogie's fine. I think Boogie, Devontae Reed, and Trey Jones all got banged up a little bit in the game. Don't think anything's long term. Felt like they're all fine. Devontae could have come back in. Trey Jones kind of got his ankle rolled up there at the end, and Boogie's fine. He had been banged up a little bit and just kind of tweaked it a little bit tonight.
And I guess there were a couple more big play downfield shots maybe than against Charlotte. Where do you feel like you are in terms of your downfield passing attack and just being kind of on the same page, receivers and Spencer?
Yeah, I think we're getting there. We've got to be able. There's no question about it. We're not going to be able to just run the ball and dink and dunk down the field and win football games. We've got to throw the ball down the field, and we need to continue to call it, and we need to continue to take those shots, but we got to be able to hit on them as well. I thought we were better tonight. A couple of those times, Spencer would probably tell you he'd love to air it out a little bit more and let guys catch and run. Jalen Brooks made a phenomenal catch in the first half on that one where he had to go up and get it in the air, and then the one to Jaheim. I think Jaheim came up and pretty quick and got to get that. But we work on it a lot, and we've got the weapons on offense between the tight ends and the receivers in the passing game where we've got to hit those shots downfield. And the more that we're able to run the ball successfully as well will continue to help us in the passing game as well.
Spencer's played probably his two most efficient games of the year here back-to-back. Have you seen any difference in him in the practice weeks or anything, or is this just kind of things finally starting to click after they weren't early?
I haven't seen much, I don't think. I think it's a lot of just things starting to click and more and more things that he's, comfortable with. And, looking at it, we probably went into the game with fewer, and part of that is the short week, but, I don't want to say simple, but fewer calls, tonight as well. But it's really just having a feel for, what he likes and just gaining more and more confidence. He's certainly practicing well. He's looked great in practice, and I think it's just gaining more and more confidence and getting more and more comfortable as well. We've talked about it before. There's a lot of new faces on our offense. Corey Rucker wasn't here for spring practice, and Spencer and Juice and those guys were new. Austin Stogner wasn't here during spring practice, and we don't have time to wait. I'm not saying that, but this doesn't happen overnight either.
As a follow-up to that, you had said a couple of weeks ago you wanted to see Rattler hang in the pocket more and stay in there before taking off running. Are you seeing that now over these last two games?
Yeah, I think so. I thought he's done a really good job of stepping up in the pocket. And what I was referring to early on was just when he was, feeling the rush a little bit, maybe backing up as opposed to just trusting it and stepping up into it. And part of that, give credit to our offensive line from a protection standpoint. They've been better the last couple of weeks. And then I think Spencer's done a good job as well. If anything, I'm telling him I told him on the sideline, quit running the ball and getting the crap knocked out of you, which he did a couple times as well. But he's a competitor. He's a good athlete. He showed that on one of those scrambles tonight as well. And he's a weapon with his feet. But yes, Phil, I feel like he's gotten a lot better of just, stepping up in the pocket. And I've mentioned it, and I know Sad has as well. When you give him something to work on, he really commits to it and works to get better at it.
Following up on Coach Atkins, how did the O-line handle that news, knowing that he wasn't going to be there? What's it like for that position group to play in a game without having him there? And then to add to that, you mentioned Nate earlier too.
Yeah.
It seemed like he got a couple targets tonight. Seemed like he was involved. Mm-hmm. Was that intentional? And I guess just what have you seen from him and his growth as a player?
In regards to the offensive line, they're great. It's a veteran group, first of all. So between Javon and Eric were captains for us tonight. And Those guys, Wanham was hurt, but it's an older group, which makes it a little bit easier because those guys are veteran guys, and they're great. And the other thing too is Lonnie Teasley, who is acting as the offensive line coach right now, is a phenomenal assistant coach. He was the offensive line coach at North Carolina Central before we hired him as an analyst, and I'm just praying we can keep him around here for a long time as well, and that nobody else tries to hire him because he's fantastic and he's got a great relationship with the players, and he's done a great job working with that offensive line also. So he's been great. And Nate. Nate's role continues to grow. Kenyon didn't play tonight. I guess on that little extra point that he ran in last week, kind of fell on his back and could have played, but it just tightened up on him a little bit as the game went on. So because of that, Nate played more. But Nate's getting more and more comfortable. And with Nate, too, if you look at us early in the season, we were probably, like, percentage-wise, 1,000% run when he was in the game. So we needed to get him in there tonight, and even last week, some to break some tendencies and throw the ball some when he's in the game also. But Nate's a good player. He played a lot of football at ETSU and is doing a good job for us also.
Hey, Coach, over 400 yards of offense, well over 150 on the ground. How important is the run game and having that depth with Lloyd and Beal Smith and that whole crew to getting the passing game open and being open?
No, it's huge. We've got to be able to run the football, every single week for us. We always talk about as a team running the ball and stopping the run, and that's where it always starts. It's a line of scrimmage league in this conference, and you've got to be able to do that. And we've done a good job of it. We've got to continue to get better, but there's no question. It helps the passing game as well. Spencer was 24 of 24 or 30 tonight, and 2 of those were interceptions that could have easily been catches as well. So it allows us the question about taking shots downfield. It allows us to take those shots because people have to commit more people to the box to stop the run because people aren't going to be able to just. We've got good backs that can make you miss, and we've got running back depth with Marshawn and with CBS as he gets better. And Juju, is a talented running back. We know what Juju can do, and Rashad Amos, and you saw Dante Miller in there tonight making some runs, and Lavassier Carroll. We've got depth at the running back position, and those guys got to continue to get better. And the other thing, too, is the perimeter blocking I thought was really, really good tonight with our receivers and tight ends. I've come in here and talked about it before where it's not good. They've been really, really good the last 2 weeks on the perimeter. Those receivers have been very unselfish, and you see them blocking on a lot of those runs and bubble screens and things like that.
Hey, Coach, last week, halftime, you weren't happy with how the defense competed, and obviously they were better in the second half against Charlotte. How'd you feel about tonight in regards to competitiveness with the defense?
I thought they were good. Probably most disappointed in that first drive of the third quarter was the one that I didn't love. We knew that they had some talented receivers that were going to make some plays, but didn't like that drive. A couple runs that we didn't fit the right way that popped out of there, and then an explosive pass down the field. Didn't love that. But for the most part, I thought they were good. And like I said, they had 220 yards of offense. South Carolina State did, and was 1 of 11 on third down. So we did some really good stuff, and I think we'd feel even better about it if we don't get 3 pass interference calls, I think, that went against us tonight, 2 in the first half. So we've got to be better there, but we're getting better and if we can hopefully get Darius Rush back next week, that'll help. He's our starting corner. Cam's, it's great to see him out there, and RJ's back healthy. So we need to get Spalding. Felt like Spalding could have played tonight, but we just wanted to rest him another week. But if we can get David back, get Darius Rush back, those are 2 guys that we consider our starters in the secondary, and will help that overall depth in the secondary also. Come on, Phil.
Emily, you want it?
We can go Emily and Colin. We're fine. Right? Is that okay, Kendall?
Shane, you mentioned earlier in the press conference just about these last 2 weeks showing you what you want to see from your team. What have you learned over these last 2 weeks about your team after 2 back-to-back losses?
That they're a resilient group. They love to practice. they're a fun group to be around. They really are. I mean, let's be real, we've dealt with a lot of adversity already this season, just with injuries and things like that. But they haven't gone out to the practice field where you got to motivate them to practice. I mean, they really enjoy being around each other. And we've talked the last couple of weeks that we need, going into last week and then this week as well, that we needed, forget about the football stuff, we needed to get closer, as a football team and more connected and feel like we have, and it's a fun group to be around. They love to work and need to continue to get better. Thank you, Coach. Yep. Thank you all. Enjoy the weekend and hope everyone stays safe. Thank you. Well, that's not me. I've put in a word. That was probably Coach Tanner. Put in a word on that one.